Welcome. Episode number 7. Episode number 7. Revelations with me. My name is Kid Revel. If you didn't know that already, if you've been here before, welcome back. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. And if you're new here, welcome to the show. Revelations is a weekly live stream show where we talk about the ins and outs of the daily life of an independent artist or any artist of any form or sort. I'm an independent artist, so I'm the one who's talking, and it'll be from my perspective. So thank y'all for coming. Whoever's here right now, thank you for watching. Whoever's watching this after the fact, let's see what's going on. Today we got another Dolo episode because another lockdown is in place here in Los Angeles, so we're just trying to keep it safe, trying to keep from gathering too much until the lockdown is over. We'll be back in the studio as soon as possible, but for now, I'm cool with just talking to y'all. This is much more of an interactive stream because I just get to sit here, and I got the chat pulled up right here on my computer, and you just get to talk. So this is much more of an interactive stream. If you got any questions to bring up while I'm talking, if you got any points you want to bring up while I'm talking, literally just say that shit in the chat. I will see it. But yeah, let's get it started. I'm gonna just say what's up to whoever's here. Let's see what's up. Jesse's here. What's up, my boy? What's up, Jaden? Ben is here as well. What is up, my guy? Yeah, if you're in here, say something in the chat because I wanna know who's here. Anyways, let's get into the topic for today. The topic for today is I wanted to talk about marketing a little bit. I put up a poll the other day because I really have like a list of topics I want to cover on the show. But I don't know the order I want to cover them in. And so I just put up a poll the other day, and my bad, I'm just getting text on my computer. I put a poll up yesterday asking what topic y'all would rather see. Talking about gear and studio stuff, or talking about marketing. And it was fairly close, but marketing won, and so I'll talk about studio gear and another shit another day. So let's just get into the marketing talk. I just wanted to start this off by saying, because if you were listening to some random person, whether you know me or not, if you're just listening to me ramble about marketing and you might think that you don't care about marketing or marketing isn't important in your life, then you ain't got no reason to watch this. So I wanted to start with why marketing is important for everybody to know a lot about, and not that you should listen to me talk about it, but you should look into marketing. If you are trying to start your own business, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to make music, make art, design clothes, anything, marketing is so important if you're trying to make a career that's really your own, and you're not working under somebody else. You're really creating something from the ground up. So the reason that marketing, I realize, is so important is because what it really does for you, whether we're talking about literal ads or just marketing yourself by branding yourself and establishing yourself as different from other people and allowing yourself to be seen through the saturation that is, for me, the rap industry or the music industry. But for other people, that's different things, whether that's random example, like if you're trying to start a lawyer firm, there's a saturation. There are already lawyer firms out there that are doing much better than you, and so you got to figure out how to separate yourself. And maybe you're like a skateboarder and you want to be sponsored by a brand, but there's so many fucking skateboarders. Just like that's just a fact. There's so many fucking skateboarders. Hold on, I actually got a pop filter. Keep blowing into it and that shit. I know it's annoying. But yeah, say you're a skateboarder and you want to get sponsorships from whatever brand, and you need to separate yourself from all these other skateboarders. And there are so many fucking skateboarders in the world. Like that shit is outrageous. Like, how are you going to separate yourself and make that a career? And so the reason why marketing is so important is because you can turn a passion or a hobby that you have and literally make it your career just through marketing it and marketing the reason why you're unique and the reason why you would make money, or just figure out your own independent way to make money regardless of what the industry thinks of you. You know what I mean? And so that's really why marketing is so important. If you want to make something of a passion that you want to start from the ground up, and you don't necessarily want to build something off of somebody else's somebody else's creation. Like, if you don't want to work for a big company or work for a record label and you want to start your own shit like I do, then learning how to market yourself and learning how to differentiate yourself from other people and learning how to reach the crowd that will enjoy your shit is so fucking important. Like, not just monetarily, but also just to know that whatever you want to do is possible, because a lot of the times you think what you want to do isn't possible because the people in your life don't necessarily support it, or don't necessarily, talk you up on it, or tell you how much they appreciate your shit or how much they like your shit. But there are always people out there that will. No matter what it is, you know what I mean? Like, you could be making like the weirdest, like, techno, fucking disco, 80s pop, and like, you could think that nobody will ever like that fucking music, but that's just not true. Because, like, as funny as it is, it's like there's fucking, I don't know the population of the world anymore, but it's like there's like 8 billion people in the fucking world. Like, there are people that will enjoy your shit, whether you're an artist, whether you're a skater, whether you're just making clothes, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're fucking, whatever the fuck. You have clientele that you can both gather support and gather, money from, to be able to turn that passion into a career. And so, yeah, that's really why I think, yeah, exactly. Jaden says people you don't even know will congratulate you more than some homies. That's an absolute fucking fact, bro. It's like, yeah, like, just because the people in your life don't exactly hold you up and praise what you're doing doesn't mean it's not good or it's not worth anything. And a lot of people are doomed to like self-esteem problems because they take the opinions of the people in their life and the people they know personally much more heavily than they do people that they would, that they would look for within that niche or within that genre or within that community that could actually support them and actually fuck with what they're doing. Like, it's like, just because your parents don't think you should be a rapper or a fashion designer doesn't mean you shouldn't be one. It's like, not even just your parents, even your homies, your fucking whoever the fuck. It could be anybody. It could be your teachers, whatever. So, learning how to market yourself and learning how to differentiate yourself from other people within whatever niche you're passionate about is, for me, it's like a make or break scenario. It's like you either learn how to market or you don't make it. Basically, it's like it didn't used to be like that because you could just be signed to whatever label and they would market you for you, and they had all the experts and all that shit. And it's still kind of like that today, but nobody makes big money and big waves and any of that shit without knowing how to market themselves and knowing how to move and knowing how to present themselves as a brand, as an artist, as a person. So marketing, it's fucking important. And yeah, it's just how I wanted to preface this. I also wanted to preface this by saying that as much as I love to talk about and I love to teach how to do stuff, it's like I'm learning just as much as I'm teaching. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not some, professor. I'm not an expert. I'm learning as much as I'm teaching. But there are people, in my life, like especially that I try and give game to, because I've put in so much time and effort trying to get my music off the ground. And even though I haven't even gotten to a point yet that I'm really satisfied with, maybe I'll never be satisfied, but that's not the point. I'm not like living off my music or anything yet, but I've gotten to a point where I at least attract people outside of my actual circle that really enjoy my shit and that really fuck with it. And it's like sometimes I didn't, like, not sometimes, back in the day, like I didn't even know that shit was possible when I was first putting out music. It was like my homies listened to my shit and people I met would listen to my shit, and then it's like nobody from like outside of my city like ever even talked to me about that shit or hit me up about it or anything. And then through the marketing that I've done, it's like I've created like a miniature like family, that I can rely on to support the shit and listen to the shit and have conversations with about the shit. And it's just fucking like, that shit it makes such a huge difference, both for your confidence and continuing to do what you want to do, and also being able to like get some form of ball rolling, because that's another very important part of starting your own thing. Is sometimes you feel like you can't get the ball rolling, and so you'll never start anything. You're like, I'll never get to the point where I can do whatever these big ass people in my industry are doing. But most people don't understand that all it takes is one push to get a ball rolling, and then you just have to maintain that over the years. And it's really a long game for all of this shit. Like, anybody that thinks you can make it overnight is delusional, like, if they genuinely think that. And it's easy to think that, like, it's real easy to think that, because when you watch an artist go from nothing to something, it's like you didn't see their entire life up to that point. You didn't see how much they were doing before that, regardless of whether it was in that industry or they were just putting in work somewhere else. So they built up the work ethic to be able to do that as fast as they did. It's like, you don't know those people. It's like you really think that shit is just like that, but it's not. And so, yeah, I don't really want to preach too much more about that, but that's why I think everybody should just be conscious about what it is they want to do, how they want to differentiate themselves, how a hobby that you have or a passion that you have can actually be a business, and how, you don't need to subject yourself to really doing some shit that you don't want to do. Like, you don't, because at this point we have the internet and we have so many resources to get our whatever message or whatever thing we want out there. Like, we have the power to do that. And so to underestimate that power and to ignore the fact that it's there and it's literally at your fingertips is just a missed opportunity if you are alive in this generation and you're young and you are not yet tied to a family or a wife or kids or whatever. Like, you really got to take advantage of that shit. So Yeah, I'm gonna get on to the I mean, mm, next topic is really just, I wanted to give personal experience because one of the best ways I learn is by hearing other people's stories about like exactly what it is what I'm trying to learn about. Like I love listening to audio. I love listening to audio autobiographies and biographies of famous, not just famous, but like successful people, and like learning about their stories and hearing about how they got to the point where they could be that successful, and they got to the point where everybody thinks that they were probably born rich, or they got to that point because they were lucky or this or that. But by listening to their life story, you really discover, and I'm not going to talk about my life story, like, I'm not going that far, but by listening to their trials and tribulations, I'm able to apply that to my life, and I'm able to learn much better. So I'm just going to talk about my marketing journey a little bit. And, like that's only been over the past 3 years or so. So it's not like I said, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm not trying to preach some shit out here. I'm really just trying to learn with y'all and share the knowledge that I got. Do you make money in other anywhere than your job, like investing? Jesse's asking if I make money in any other way besides like my day job, like investing or anything. No, I definitely put some time and energy into learning how to drop ship, trying to figure out how to make some money outside of my music and work, but and I'm still working on that a little bit, but it's really not it takes a lot more time and energy than I'm willing to put in, especially when I'm trying to put all of the time and energy that I don't have to put into work into my music. Like, to me, it's not really worth wasting all that time, not wasting, but using all that time to build up money, whether it's learning to invest or learning to drop ship or learning to what's that shit, Bitcoin or whatever the fuck. But it's just I started putting a lot of time and energy into it, and I realized my time would be better spent making music and trying to market the music. Like, there's really nothing else. Like like, it always comes back to that. No matter what it is I get interested in, it's like I just want to market my music and get it heard and make more and make better music. And it's like, to me, that's like the true sign of knowing what you want to do, is if when you try anything else, you keep going back to it. And so, as much as I like money, it's like I don't have that much, and I don't spend that much. And I only buy things that I actually like really want. Like, this mic was like, got it for like $500, but it's normally like $700. And that's like an investment. Like, a lot of people don't even have that money, but I still live at home type shit, and I work a job. So the fact that I had enough, like I had $500 saved up, like I could buy a new mic and upgrade the just the setup, and upgrade like the quality of the sound. And for me, that's an investment, because it means I don't have to spend as much money going to a studio. I could make more music at home if I get better at mixing. It's just generally a better monetary option. But yeah, that's kind of just to answer your question. No, Jesse. Ben is asking, are there any plans for changing the podcast setup in space? If you're talking about mine, it's either here or at Wally's studio. Wally's studio, I want to know your guys' opinion on that also. Like, I want to, I'm really interested in knowing exactly what you guys think about each episode and how each episode looks and all that shit, because I'm trying to figure out how to improve on the show, whether it's in terms of topics or how it looks or any of that other stuff. But yeah, so I'm just, I'm really just, I want your guys' opinion on that. There was no real plan. The room is better, Jaden. Which room? This room or that one? Like Joe or Wally's house? Like the solo streams look way better, right? Like, you know, the lighting is here. This might fuck up the lighting. I'll change it back in a second, but like I can change the colors of this shit. And I can change the vibe for each episode. So I just think that's dope here. Can't really do that at Wally's, but and I can interact with you guys more at the solo stream, so I might honestly start doing them more often. And that's really the only way I'd be able to show off new music and other shit like that, was if I was at home. And like technically, like shit doesn't really work when you have a lot of people around and shit. So Ben has another question. I'm gonna do Ben's question, and then we'll get into my marketing journey so far. Like I'll just break everything down for y'all. And Ben says, okay, how does podcasting correlate to your passion in music? Is there a space to keep current and future listeners a place? Wait. Is it? No, my brain is not having a good time processing this question. Okay, I think he's asking that is there a space, is the podcast a space for current and future listeners to learn more about me, or is it more of a personal help to me? Both. 100% both. Because what I created it for, the reason I created it is because I wanted something to put out for the people that fuck with my music, and just me in general. Just me in general, to catch up on a weekly basis, like, because I'm not big on posting on Instagram once a week, even though I will start doing that semi soon. I'm much more inclined to want to do something like this every week, where it's like I need to have a topic. It's something productive. It's something that'll remain in the archive. It's something that, you know, regardless of what I'm talking about, I can look back on it and see how my mindset was at that current time. And I think that's really good. I think that's a really positive thing to have in your life. Is like, this is almost my my journal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is almost where I fucking just like speak my mind about whatever's going on right now in terms of what I'm creating or what I'm not creating, or what I'm marketing, or whatever the fuck I'm doing at the time, or whatever. And I can look back on these episodes and really like to see what my mindset was at the time of all these things. And even though we're only 7 episodes in, and right now looking back on the episodes, it's kind of similar energies. You know, in 2-3 years, when I'm like, I plan on continuing to do this, even if I have to cut it down to not weekly, I'll still continue to drop this shit, like, without a doubt. I'll be able to look back on those years in 10 years and then see what, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's almost like a backlog of my life. So that's how it's for me. But for other people, it's like, you know, like I said, I want people who listen to my music and who fuck with me in general to have a place to hear what's on my mind if they're interested, but also learn about what I'm doing and learn about how to do it themselves too. If I start to take off, say, with this podcast or with my my music or whatever, it's like people can look back on this and be like, oh, that was his mindset at this point, and then he started doing this, and I saw him drop this, and then that did this. And so maybe that'll allow people to attempt to replicate it themselves and get more success in whatever lane that they're in. And so that's how I want it to help other people. I want other people to use it sort of as a resource to look at either what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong, and be able to like sort of attempt to make decisions of their own based on that. If that makes any sense. Maybe it doesn't, but you know, I don't really care. So we're going to talk about sort of how I've marketed my music to date. And so we're going to go in chronological order here. And so the way I'm going to start this is by saying I didn't market my music at the beginning whatsoever, like at all. What I did is I would drop my music, and for some reason, on SoundCloud in 2016, 2017, when you would upload a song, it would just get like 1,000 plays naturally. Like I wasn't marketing my shit, but I was getting 1,000 plays on everything. And so I was just posting my shit and I was showing it to my friends, and I was going to hella parties back in the day. And it was just like my name was getting around LA a little bit. In the West LA area, at least. I'm not going to say I was like popping in LA. And so people just sort of knew who I was, and so my songs sort of just started getting more plays and shit like that. And this was like a while ago, like 2017, maybe early 18. And so then my song Trust, eventually, I think it was just like SoundCloud algorithm, like it eventually got either on a playlist, or it just started getting played after a really poppin' song. And that song, I don't even know how many plays it has anymore, but it went up. And so I really saw no need to be marketing. Like I was just like, oh, I don't really even have to market. I can just post good music. And so I guess you could consider shooting music videos and stuff like that marketing. But over that time, it was really like I saw no need to either continue dropping really consistently, dropping projects, doing any of that shit, advertising, anything like that. Like I was really just dropping at whenever I wanted, and it was kind of just being sort of successful without me trying that hard. And it was just like I was like, bet. Like I really took that shit for granted at the time. And so during that, like I shot a few videos. Like I shot the video for West Coast, which is my first video, and that did decent. Like it's one of the most viewed videos on their channel still to date, which is cool. And you know, like some other shit like that happened where I was just getting like some nice plays on certain shit. But yeah, it was mostly word of mouth. Like I wasn't really marketing my shit, and that is really powerful, is being able to go out and play your shit for other people and even perform or just meet other people. Like that's really powerful, especially if you live in a city like LA or a city like New York or Atlanta or Chicago. Like word of mouth is so fucking important, especially if you're trying to do shows and shit, because like doing shows is a really fucking good way to make people excited about you, because the people, whenever somebody goes to a good show, they're going to post videos about it and shit, and they're going to try and take a picture with the artist. And if they get a picture with you and they post it on their story, then that's basically just like proof to their homies that they fuck with you heavily, which is like dope. And so, you know, that's just is what it is. And you know, right now obviously that's very difficult, but when the lockdowns and shit are over and shows commence, like I'll definitely be on that shit way more. I wasn't on it enough then, but following that, like almost like blow up, that wasn't really a blow up, because I wasn't really gaining Instagram followers, and I wasn't really like popping or anything. Like I was getting a lot of new followers because I was followed by Billie Eilish at the time. And so I just sort of like kept dropping, not consistently. Like I would say I was going to drop something and I'd be pretty flaky on that, which is a big no-no. Like I'll be honest, like that shit's fucked up. Like you can't lead your fucking listeners on type shit, because that really like almost like breaks the trust of the people who enjoy your stuff. And I kind of realized that too late, when people really genuinely fucked with my stuff, and I kept saying I was going to drop shit and do new things, and I just like didn't really do them. And so it was just, you know, I would say that's very important, being consistent, or at least doing what you say you're going to do, regardless of whether you're a musician or whatever the fuck else. And so yeah, it's like I started not losing followers, but I started losing listeners. Like Trust wasn't doing as many numbers Trust wasn't doing that many numbers every day or every week or whatever. Like it was doing less and less. And you know, all my other shit just like stopped getting nearly as many plays. But I also literally didn't drop a song for like a span of like 6 months. Like it was like after I dropped one song, I think I was still posting on Instagram regularly, but I literally just didn't fucking drop any music. Jesse says, how the fuck did Billy follow you? I met her at a show. What was it called? It's called Fuck Yeah Fest in 2015. I met her there through a mutual friend, and she followed me after that. That was before she was like really famous or famous at all. And yeah, she just continued to follow me, and we were cool. But like, I never kicked it with her after that or anything. And you know, she obviously got millions and millions of followers, so I was just getting followers off of that because she didn't follow that many people. Jaden wants to know who Jesse is. Just that's my boy, bro. You wouldn't know him, nigga. Why are you talking? Anyway. So yeah, losing listeners. After that point, it was really like I was sort of in desperation mode a little bit because I really had no idea what the fuck to do, because I had done what I was doing prior, and it was like nothing. Like, I wasn't doing anything. I was just posting, and I was posting the music. Oh, he was asking who Billie is. Oh, my bad, Jaden. Billie Eilish is fucking just this famous ass, like one of the most famous pop stars in the world. Like, she got like 4 billion streams last year or something. Academics posted it, I think. So she's just fucking. I was just getting hella followers off her. Anyways, started losing streams. Sort of started like freaking out because, like, while you shouldn't really care about streams, it was a sign that people were starting to care less, because I was getting less likes on my posts. I was getting less streams on all my songs. Granted, I hadn't posted a song for 6 months, so, you know, like, I can't blame people for not wanting to listen to my shit. But anyways, after that, it was really I went into like a mode of trying to learn how to market, because I knew marketing was important, but I didn't know how important, nor did I know how to do it in any capacity. So naturally, as all those of my generation do, I YouTube the shit. And I sort of started watching hella videos where it was like people would give different strategies as to boost your likes and boost your listeners on different platforms. And so when I tell you I spent literally probably over 50 plus hours watching, like, not, I wouldn't call them bullshit, but they were just like weird little different methods, like niche methods that didn't really work, or they required you to post every single day, multiple times a day, or like and comment on 50 plus posts a day, like that type of shit. It's like I watched so many fucking videos of things like that just because I was trying to wrap my head around how to get my shit out there. And you know, I guess I tried to do some of the posting and the liking and commenting ones, and I eventually got to the point where I was posting a lot, but that was a little bit after. But yeah, so Javi says, I keep losing my train of thought whenever I see somebody say something. Javi says, do a live performance for the next week's show, even though it's a podcast. I'll be honest, and this is like a little leak. That's not really a leak because it's next week. Next week I might be having one of my most repeated, I don't know what to call it, produced by Penwell. I might be having him on the show next week, and so I honestly might perform a song that fucking he produced, because that would actually be fucking sick. So that's a good idea, Javi. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, now I need to figure out where I was. I completely forgot what I was saying. Anyway, what was I doing? I was learning about marketing, YouTube. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit more about learning about marketing later. So I'm not going to get too much into this because I have a whole thing later that I'm going to explain to y'all about learning how to market and learning how to market yourself and whatever it is your passion is. But I started learning how to market, and I started researching marketing. and all that other shit. And I started making new music that I fucked with more than anything. And I started making new shit, and it was like, it felt like shit was getting rolling again. Like I really started making shit that I fucked with, like genuinely. And then at that point, I keep losing my train of thought. I'm faded. At that point, what I realized I had to do was I had to drop a project, because this was like the beginning of quarantine almost, or like the beginning of the year. I started making this project. I started making Mental Warfare. And so like in the process of making Mental Warfare, I was like, you know what? Like after watching all of these videos and trying all these tutorials of boosting my Instagram and my listeners on SoundCloud, and I had just posted my first songs on all platforms and trying to boost that. It was like, how can I like make the biggest impact with this project? Like what have I not done before with the drop? And so what it really was like I sort of made a combination of all of the YouTube videos I was watching. And so basically that kind of went down like, some of them were talking about Instagram and Facebook ads, where you're putting money down and you doing sponsored posts. Some of them were talking about doing hashtags and liking and commenting on other people's posts. And some of them were talking about posting every day, or posting really consistently. And so I put them all together with the Mental Warfare shit. So if like you saw the Mental Warfare drop, you know that before the project dropped, for like 3 weeks maybe, I was posting 2 to 3 times a week, just pictures, just cool shit, lyrics from the project, songs from me, or pictures of me recording the songs in the studio that were taken by my brother, like other shit like that. Like I was just posting all the fucking time. Like I was just saturating the feed with fucking just fucking, just shit about, not necessarily about the project, but just about me, like having people like go like, oh shit, like he's up to something. Like they know I'm up to something because I'm just posting so much shit. It's like, it's fairly obvious when somebody's ramping up to do something. Like they don't just pop out of nowhere with a bunch of posts. Yeah, so it was like the combination of those two things. And then I started using hashtags on my posts. I would make like a block of hashtags and make another one of completely separate hashtags and switch them out through every post, because I guess you're not, like, through the videos I watch, I guess you're not supposed to do the same hashtags every time. I guess it, like, I don't know. And then I was also boosting the posts that were performing the best, and that was mostly my Trillers and some photos, like and the previews and stuff like that, like mostly the videos. And so I started promoting those like for like a good amount of money, because I was still working. I was making money from unemployment. It wasn't really unemployment. I was just making money while my store was closed down. I got very little from unemployment. That shit's fucking, I don't know how people scamming them, bro. I got scammed by them, apparently. But, like, I had a decent amount of money just from working. And so, like, I literally started throwing money just into the Facebook ads and shit. Like, I just didn't give a fuck. Like, I was really throwing money into that shit. And as it reflects on my Instagram profile, like, if you go back to the post from a few months ago, like, during the summer, from, like, April through August, it was, like, my shit was, like, I was getting, like, hella likes. Like, I was getting so many fucking comments on different shit. It was just, like, the Facebook ads on different videos. Like, I literally, like, if one was performing, like, really well, I would just keep boosting that shit. And I would keep boosting that shit and keep boosting that shit. And it would just bring new people to the profile, which would make them want to like the new pictures. And then the new shit would just keep going. And then it was just, like, off like that. But then another one, which I'll preface it by saying, it's not everybody's strategy, and I'm not suggesting that it should be your strategy. But I got the biggest boost in followers, like, that I've ever gotten in my entire life, not from Billie Eilish following me, not from anything, was I started, like, being in these TikToks at the Starbucks that I work at. And that shit was, like, those shits were doing like multiple millions of views every time. And so every time we posted one of those, and it was like my the person who was doing them was like posting them often. And so I was just getting like I got like 50K on TikTok and I got like 15K on Instagram. And so that's how I got to 15K on Instagram. However, with all the ad boosting I was doing and with all the TikTok shit, it was like, what I realized is after the fact of that, I really sort of like I was getting a lot of likes and comments and all that shit for the time being, and I was getting a good amount of listens for the time being as well. But after the fact, like I haven't really been posting a ton over the past few months. It's mostly been about this live stream, about Touchdown, which Tara and I dropped, and just about little other things like that. It was just like, you know, I didn't really want to post anymore on Instagram because I didn't have, like, my brother isn't in town anymore, so I didn't have anybody to flick me up, and like, you know, I didn't want to just go take pictures with random people. Like, I trust my brother more than anybody, like with my pictures type shit. And so it was just like I didn't really have much to post, and I knew I wanted to keep posting and keep doing something, so I started this, and this became something. But this is more for my diehards type shit, or people who are genuinely interested in my opinion, and that's not the people who listen to my music necessarily, right? And so, yeah, it was really like, it felt like the people that came from all the TikTok shit and the music I was posting back a couple months ago, it was like it didn't sustain, like it didn't hold necessarily, like all the money I put in, like it was a really good learning experience, don't get me wrong, but it's like the money I put in didn't get me a long lasting fan base. It got me a fan base that sort of came and went, if that makes sense. So it's like I learned how to create the fan base, but unless I'm willing to keep up that posting and that energy forever, it's like I'm not going to be able to maintain that fan base. However, it's not that I'm not willing to maintain that pace forever. It's just that I don't want to, because I won't be comfortable and it won't be fun. And so what I know now after doing all that shit is that it's really important to test exactly what methods A, you enjoy, and B, actually work. And so I learned methods that will actually work for me, and whether that is a combination of me figuring out how to post viral videos on TikTok and doing Facebook ads and posting multiple times a week and using hashtags and doing all this other shit. Like, I know that shit works basically at this point, so I can do that, or I can figure out some other new method or whatever the fuck, which, you know, I don't care to do because I already know the one that works for me. But it's really about testing those methods against each other. Like, say I came up with a new method that I thought might work a little bit better. I don't have an example, but say I did. I would test that against the one that I already did. And if that one started working better, I would do that one. And then you want to keep looking for new methods of marketing, because that's what marketing is. It's trial and error. There's no use in having one method and thinking that's the shit and that's how you're going to get through life. And so it's like you really got to try new things and move around and stuff. And even though I was getting hella likes and comments back then, it's not like that's what makes this shit for me. It's like I do this shit because I enjoy it. And I enjoy doing a weekly live stream, and I enjoy talking with y'all and almost making like a something I can look back on and really fuck with, and really what am I trying to say? Something I can look back on and see where I was at the time. Like, I really enjoy this, is what I'm trying to fucking say, is I enjoy making this. And so that's something I had to test, is like, you know, at some point, maybe I'll be willing to post on Instagram multiple times a week if I have pictures that I'm proud of and shit. But right now, I don't feel pressured to do that. Like, I feel obligated to do this stream every week because I said I was going to, and so I'm doing it. Not only because I enjoy it, but because I have an obligation to y'all. And also just because being consistent is fucking important. Like, if somebody sees what you're doing and they're interested in it, they need more to go into. And if you're not posting on Instagram every week, you need to be doing something else. So, you know, I kind of found what I enjoy doing every week. And there's other weekly shit that I might end up doing very soon too. Like, I'm trying to do some sort of vlog kind of things. It would be for the Kid Revel Revealed library, which I'll be announcing very soon. I mean, technically I kind of just announced it, but it's like, I'm not going to explain completely what it is right now. But it's just kind of like a private web page that I'm going to allow my fans to get access to. And yeah, so it's like there's just a lot of cool shit that I want to start doing and posting on Instagram every week and doing thirst traps and weird other shit like that is just not what I'm trying to do. Not that I ever really did thirst traps, but you know what I mean. I'm not down to post shit just for clout and for people to like it. So, test your methods. And also, it's like after that whole thing where I was posting for those few months, it's like burnout is like a real fucking thing. Like I was tired. And like that's weird to say, posting on Instagram a couple times a week and doing all this other shit. It's like you shouldn't be tired from that. You should be like ready to go. And it's like, I guess, but it's like when you spend as much money as I spent and didn't make anything back from it, and we're out multiple times a week doing photo shoots and doing all this shit to see a decent amount of return, but nothing really monetarily. And the fans that came through that system didn't really stick with me. It was mostly producers and other people who were trying to get things out of me and didn't want a legit relationship type shit. It was like there was a lot more of that than I wanted there to be. So I was kind of just burnt out and just kind of done with it. So that's another thing, is that you really have to pace yourself and you really have to, play this shit like a long game. Like I say this all the fucking time. You can't get stuck in one method and just think it's going to keep working, especially if you're unhappy in it. So, when you feel like you're losing steam and burning out, take a second, reflect on where you're at, figure out exactly what it is that you would be happier doing if you're unhappy doing what you're doing, etc., etc. Just fucking don't allow it to push you to the point where you question your love for the passion. You know what I mean? Like it's not a job. You're not doing this shit as a full-time job unless you are, in which case I would still figure out how to love it more, because like there's no point in doing this shit if you fucking hate it, just for money or just for whatever the fuck. Like that's no way to live. Like that shit is, that's not the way I'm trying to live, at least, I'm not going to judge you if you're not. And so, yeah. Last thing I really have to say about my journey is just that I've really come to a point where I'm trying to sort of strategize everything. And that's sort of what I recommend for everybody else is really try and think about where you're trying to be within the next year and figure out what exactly you want from marketing and what exactly you want to get from whatever it is you're doing. And you can either work backwards, start with your goal and work backwards as to how you're going to get there, or you can just, almost make a goal for each month up for a year or whatever the fuck. But just sort of strategize and look at whatever it is you're planning and think about it from other people's perspective. Ask other people about it. And just fucking like pace yourself. Like don't go all in on everything, because some people are workhorses like that. I'm not. I'm a workhorse in my own way, but I'm not the type of workhorse that's just willing to fucking stomp on the fucking, like when it comes to shit I don't want to do, at least. Like I'm not willing to fucking flick up and post on Instagram 5 times a week just because I think it might eventually get me somewhere in music. It's like if I could drop a song a week, if I thought that was really going to get me where I was going, which I don't necessarily. I'm more of an album artist as it is. Like that's just what I enjoy to make. But yeah, like I always prefer that people chase what they enjoy rather than what they fucking think is the right thing to do, or they think other people want them to do, or whatever the fuck. So yeah, that's just where I'm at now. Planning this next job with Tara. The music is insane, but right now, like I said, it's like sometimes you got to take a step back and not just drop the shit and not just expect people to give a fuck, because the majority of the time people don't give a fuck. And that's just life. Like just because you think people care about whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't mean they do. And sometimes you kind of need to make them care. You need to give them a reason to care, which can be your visuals started looking way better, or maybe your music got way better, or your clothes just got way better, or you made a post explaining why they should care. No matter what it is, it's like, give them a reason to give a fuck. Don't just fucking assume that, you know. I basically completely forgot how I started that little talk there. But do what you got to do to fucking maintain your sanity, but at the same time, you know, you got to grind. Like, nobody's handing you shit. Like, that's a common misconception from a lot of people, apparently, that you're going to be handed shit. So, lastly, I'm just going to touch on this. I'm not going to be too fast because I want to talk about it a little bit. Learning how to market. It's a very important topic because it was very difficult for me to do. Like, it took me a long time, and I still obviously don't know how to market, but I know how to learn how to market, essentially. And what I would say is the methods that I really used are, I would go to, you know, whatever it is your niche is, whatever it is you're looking into. Obviously, YouTube is your friend, but at the same time, there are a lot of people on YouTube who see advice from other creators and basically regurgitate that shit and use better lighting quality and better videos and better other shit to differentiate themselves, and kind of just like don't really know what they're talking about. So it's, you know, you got to almost vet your YouTubers. You got to look into their other videos and look into what their comments say and look into all that shit, and make sure the person you're taking advice from is somebody that you can rely on for good advice, because anybody can post a video on YouTube. And so it doesn't mean you should be learning from anybody. You know what I mean? So nextly, is that a word? Man. I would say another important step is not necessarily taking these people's word for it, but you got to look at the leaders, but also your peers within your genre, your niche. So what I do is I follow a lot of rappers but like below 20K, just because I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what they're posting, how people are reacting to it. And so I just watch all these random underground rappers do what they're doing and see who gets what reaction, and I take note of it, and I really just decide what they do that I think I could do better, or what they do that did well for them, and maybe I'll just replicate it. Not necessarily that I'd replicate their video or song or anything, but like a certain post style or a certain, you know, or a certain consistency of consistency of posting or something like that. But those are the kinds of things that I would snatch from other creators. So if you're an artist, as in drawing shit, fucking go to just like look up some other cover artists, or look up some other cartoonists on Instagram. Just follow some, like, a fuckload of people who aren't that known, and just see what they're doing and see exactly the interaction they're getting. Because at this point on Instagram and with social media, it's not really reliable to look at the biggest names in the game, because they can post whatever they want and they're going to get a fuckload of likes and comments. Like, that's not the analytics you should be paying attention to. You should be paying attention to people who are in your range or within a reachable range. Like, if you sent them enough DMs, they would see it and respond to you if you had a question type shit. So definitely look at other people within your niche and take note of what they're doing. And then, you know, the biggest point I tried to make earlier, and I'll make it again, is testing is always going to yield the truth, y'all. Like, for real. You gotta come up with a method. Don't be dumb about it. Don't just shoot in the dark, but come up with a method. Think about what you're doing objectively and just try it. Like, no matter what it is, you just gotta try it. And if you say you're gonna do something, do it. Don't half-ass any of the shit you're doing. The way you do, my pops used to say and still says, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So the way you do something If you're half-assing one thing, you're most likely half-assing everything. And that's not to say that just because you don't fucking like mop the floors like a champion at work doesn't mean you don't have good work ethic at music or at making clothes. But you just can't half-ass trying to turn your passion into a career, because that's not gonna work. That'll just never work. Like, that's just like, if you can convince yourself that not working your ass off will get you anywhere, like, congratulations. But like, I really don't believe that you'll get anywhere with that sort of outlook. So yeah, really just test out different methods, whether it's different content, whether it's different ways of advertising, whether it's different ways of telling people about your product or your music or whatever it is. Testing will always yield the truth every time. You just got to test different things, and if you make a decision, commit to that decision. Making a decision and sticking with it is much more important than making the right decision. That's just a fact. So that's about all I have for you guys tonight. That was fun. I felt like I was lecturing you guys. I don't mean to lecture y'all, because I'm not the all-seeing eye, although I am attempting to open my third eye, like NLE chakra. I just like talking about this shit. Like, I really enjoy talking about just the shit that I'm up to, because I really like to hear y'all's opinions on it. I want to inspire y'all to get your ass back to work, because that's really, I got it written on my wall right here. That's really, like, I'm really so just adamant on getting your ass to fucking work, and stop thinking about what you want to do and just doing it. Just get off your fucking ass and do some shit. That's basically what this episode was about. But also, you know, specifics of marketing and all that. So thank you guys for coming. I love you guys. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. If you're watching this right now, obviously, I'm not, necessarily asking you to comment, but if you're watching this after the fact, drop a comment and just let me know what you thought. If you got any opinions on things I said prior, earlier in the episode, drop it in the comments below. I'll most likely respond to it. I think that's all I gotta say. Revelations with me, Kid Revel, is live every Monday at 6 p.m. Thank you guys for coming. I love you. Be safe. Have a good night. Don't drink and drive. Adios, mi amigos y amigas.